Late again, but we're back. Dang, we're 30 minutes late because of a doctor's appointment, but we're still here and we're still attempting to. Oh, snap. Oh, it says we're live. Um, what was it? Was Elon friends with Epstein? Uh, oh no, my brain's not working. Oh, I just had it. Wasn't cool enough. I guess we could come back and do it. We're live, Doomacrolling, here on the RFO show. Sorry to stop it in the middle of the song. I missed the pausing point. Didn't mean to stop it on the radio stream in the middle of the song, but I missed. We're live on Facebook. 30 minutes late, no intro. Ain't got time for it. The RFO show where we doom scroll and discuss the truth and look for updates and more stuff. Get an opinion about it. We invite people on to talk about it. We interview people. Things like that. It's a little different than your normal just sit down interview. We get down to the hard questions. We doom scroll. We try to provide evidence. If you want to just doom scroll and see where it takes us, or we can just go right in. We're live on the RFO show. $90.1. We'll do a quick little.
$90.1. I've been searching through the static, trying to find something that feels right. Then I stumbled on your frequency, and everything came together. Revolt Radio 90.1, your sound of soul. 90.1. talking, but they ain't saying nothing. Just noise on every other station. You cut through all that mess, giving us what we need to hear. Reform Radio 90.1, your sound of soul. 90.1, the heartbeat of the city. It's where we belong. Reform Radio 90.1, harmony in the streets. One voice, we all tuned in to the same rhythm now. Same rhythm now. Reform Radio 90.1, your sound of soul. 90.1, the heartbeat of the city. It's where we belong. Reform Radio 90.1, your sound of soul. 90.1, Reform Radio.
That's all we got time for. Let's get into it here. We're running late, but we're going to try to get some doom scrolling in, some discussion, and see where it takes us here. Epstein exposed. I'm sure today we got more stuff. Yesterday it was wild. We're reacting in real time to just what comes up on the feed, but it was wild. So we know now that Epstein won the lottery like 3 times at least, according to this, which is everything I wondered. I want to know who won. Kind of wonder now if they were all Jewish, all the winners, and if it's just a gooey thing. Oh yeah, they'll all buy lottery tickets, but they'll never win. It's always a Jew that wins. And what if that's just some of their gambling gooey slop? They teach their kids from a young with a dreidel at Hanukkah. It we're gonna give them a dreidel. That's a gambling toy. You're giving your kids gambling toys because they're gambling on all of us. So anyway, we're gonna get into it. Everything we say about the Jews is admitted by a Jew, group of Jews, rabbis, and in their Talmud. Majority of what we say has been verified, especially if it's been verified and admitted. We gotta take accountability for ourselves, yeah. Or if they're lying, and they won't answer questions, and you get one Jew in the neighborhood go, oh, well, Zionism's not Judaism. That's post October 7th, not in my name rhetoric, folks. That's what that is. You know what I'm saying? Post October 7th, not in my name rhetoric. We just want to reiterate that because people get, oh, there's too much Israel stuff. The truth is great, but I don't like the Israel. Well, they're behind all the problems. So you don't get, it's not how it works. We don't do halfway truths. We don't water them down and make them look like anything other than what it is. So anyway, the show with the most, we're doom scrolling. I don't know. Guess we'll just leave it right there. I'm gonna lock these. But yeah, if you like what we're doing, live Al Jazeera news updates since we missed the 1 o'clock news for the radio listeners. If you're watching on Facebook, you can see them scrolling the headlines. So they most likely what they just discussed right there. It's the main bill. Eventually, I think I'm going to incorporate local Division 2 sports. We got a Division 2 feed that goes at the bottom of the screen now, and I believe we have live weather alerts now that go at the bottom of the screen when we're doing the weather. Finally figuring this stuff out. Some of the RSS players aren't working on the website. They're supposed to be giving the news updates. And then we're talking about the stuff that's not really, that's a little too deep for news, but the mainstream confirmed, like Israel killing more in Gaza. You'll see that. So let's get into it. A little late. We're starting here. Let's see what Facebook's saying. Oh, we gotta wait because it's not gonna upload while we're screening. All right, we'll try it and see. We're scrolling right now. It's on my private profile here, so I shared it. State lawmakers pushing the SKFO-RTV. State lawmaker pushing the long-standing financing practice allow the Turnpike Authority to keep tolls in place on roads that have already been paid off by using that revenue to fund other turnpikes. Wow, cross pledging. They should be ended altogether because they were supposed to be temporary. Clearly, they're not. They're supposed to be to fund the war or whatever. So Benjamin still believes his own lies? All right, no way. Jeffrey Epstein says Twitter. Jeffrey Epstein used no close relationship with Barack doesn't suggest Epstein worked for Israel. It uh, it proves the opposite here. Um, hang on, let's get the screen. Got the wrong one. Ain't gonna work. We gotta get rid of that. Too many window captures open here. If you ask me. There we go. There it is. That's crazy. And he goes on to say that stuck on his election laws from over 2 decades ago, Barack has for years obsessively attempted to undermine Israeli democracy by working with the anti-Zionist radical left and failed attempts to overthrow the elected Israeli government. Right. He gets caught with Epstein, which is what all y'all guys are doing and lying about it. And now he's anti-Zionist. See, this is the thing. Whenever somebody gets caught being a pedophile religiously, they always go, "Oh, he's not religious. He can't be religious." Again, I reiterate the Hourglass song by B.O.P. Kosher. The people in power talking about they're saying my people malicious, but the people in power talking about something that ain't religious. Well, it's always that bullshit. And you got Stu Peters now going, "I'm sorry, it's the non-religious, it's not the religious." That's the lie. It is the religious. The Bible says it's the Jewish religious. They're not Christian, and they're doing it religiously. They're doing it in the name of their culture. The newspapers in Israel say that it is. It is a Jewish culture, Jewish heritage, Jewish everything. This thing. It's always some personal made up issue when they get caught. Well, the fact that he was that close, ended up being that close with them, he's not the only one that's gaslighting themselves with this shit right now. He's saying it just took my time to kick the can. You guys are out here gaslighting yourselves. Oh, see, it's still not all of them. They don't all think like that. See, look, it doesn't suggest that Epstein worked for Israel. It proves the opposite. Okay, how does it prove the opposite? And then he rambles on about stuck on the election laws. That's not facts, that's an appeal to emotion. Let's see. So, his personal fixation, which is facts, led him to engage in activities publicly and behind the scenes to undermine the government of Israel, including fueling mass protest movements, fomenting unrest, and feeding false media narratives. That's crazy. What else do we have here? Uh-oh. No one's certified. Let's see. Mexico. Look down. Limited spots. The last 5 years, let's see. BHNuniversity.com. What is this crap? Financing? Let's see. The last 5 years, students on point risk their life getting your sovereignty back on all levels. You have financing in this. Anyway. A life free from the need of the sick care system, blah, 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 all that shit. What is it? Okay, so Dr. Betsy said the vaccine causes autism. We gotta go back. Okay. The FDA raided his office and he was found dead in a river 2 days later, 2015. Dr. Mullen said Tony Fauci doesn't have a clue what he's doing and I'll tell him to his face. He died mysteriously in 2019, right before the alleged outbreak began. Dr. Kerry Mullis, Nobel Prize winning inventor of the PCR test. Fuck! Andrew Breitbart supposedly died of natural causes by collapsing on March 1st, 2012, after threatening to release the videos of Barack Obama because Obama was never properly vetted in the 2008 election. He stated that the videos would greatly affect the 2012 election and now released them just before November. A couple of weeks later, the coroner who worked on his body mysteriously died by poisoning. So yeah, I remember Breitbart TV, right? That was just a weird deal. And then the Jews took over that show. Hi, I'm Pat Tillman. I was an NFL star turned Army Ranger. After the events on 9/11, I went to Afghanistan and Iraq to fight for my country. Soon after my deployment, I realized we were guarding opium fields for Big Pharma and the CIA, so I decided I was going back home and lead the anti-war effort. 3 days after my decision, I was found dead with three NATO 5.56 rounds in my skull. This was declared friendly fire. Holy shit. Now we're all awake, so they can't friendly fire us all, right? Without it obviously being a. My name is Philip Haney. I was a founding member of the DHS. I became a whistleblower who spoke out against the Obama administration ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Oh my God. See, this is the bullshit. He wasn't tied to the Muslim Brotherhood, you fucking dumbass. We can show you the picture. He kissed the wall. He was a Jew. So you lost credibility there. When you're not, you look like a Jew. Anyway, aiding the infiltration of the U.S. government. I was murdered on February 21st, 2020. And the case remains unsolved. Well, it was the Jews. And you would have figured that out. It wasn't the Muslims. Then you'd have been more powerful than ever. They can't have that. He thinks I'm with the Muslims. All right, that works. Ted Gunderson, an ex. Can't tell what that says. FBI? That's got to be FBI. Look different. FBI because it's crappy, pixelated, small. But Ted Gunderson, is an ex FBI chief and whistleblower. Some of the shit that Alex Jones would listen and talk about. I think he went on Alex Jones or something. I don't know. I feel like they interviewed. I feel like he used to say that name a lot either in referring to stuff that he researched or as a source. But he confirmed or he exposed um, Satanism in the CIA, that the chemtrails were real, I mean, come on. Ex-FBI chief. So when you see Cash Patel's the director, who's the goddamn chief? Right? Because I thought the chief was like, what's a director? Sounds like a fake corporation to me. Like the board of directors. This is deputy director, the head director, Cash Patel, or whatever they call him. They don't call him chief, but here he's referred to as chief. There's got to be a difference. But he also confirmed terrorist attacks Title 11 done by our own government. Of course, they at the time couldn't say the Jews. Drug running, MK Ultra and mind control, the Illuminati, all that was confirmed. That's why he was silenced. It's not really Satanism like how they're not telling the truth about what that is. It's much worse than, oh yeah, they're just doing a ritual or two to get power, to get elected, to get famous. No, it's much more than that. Arsenic. Let's see, Dr. Kerry Lewis, anyone can test positive. Anyone can test positive for practically anything with a PCR test. If you run it long enough with PCR, if you do it well, you can find almost anything and anybody. It doesn't tell you that you're sick. PCR test, the guy that admitted it. The PCR test used amplified 40 slash 50, 40 slash 45 cycles, which give false positives, quote unquote, medical fraud. That was his words. Dr. Kerry Mullis, PhD, joint winner of the '93 Nobel Peace Prize, or Nobel Prize in Chemistry, coined as the creator of the PCR test. And that's what he had to say about it. Michael Stender, Senate Sergeant. Oh, what just happened? Oh, we paused it here. Senate Sergeant at Arms on January 6th testified under oath about a possible federal agent setup on January the 6th. Investigations should be considered as to the funding and traveling of what appears to be professional agitators. He was found dead months later. Fed surrection. Real people pulled up. Millions of Americans pulled up. But on the front lines, the ones actually damaging property, or that started it, were professional agitators in hopes that everybody would just do what they're doing. And we need to go, well, they're all pedophiles, right? Let's just break this fucking place. And that didn't happen. We come there just to get them to go away and stop what they're doing. We tried the peace route, or we would have shot them up everywhere a long time ago and started the bottom up. You know what I'm saying? Or actually, I think you should start the top down. You can't start the bottom up with one of these type of situations. Terry's last known words were, as soon as I shake these feds that are following me, I'll be back and we'll go to dinner. He never came back. The officer's body was found the next day in a field a mile from his abandoned vehicle. He had been bound, repeatedly cut, strangulated, brutally tortured, and killed execution style with a single bullet that entered his right temple at a 45-degree angle. No gun was found at the scene, of course not. Some examples of what happened in the past. Hi, I'm Beverly Eckert. My husband was killed during the 9/11 attacks. I rejected 1.8 million from the government and filed a lawsuit against them instead. I was a loudmouth and a well-known figure in the 9/11 truth movement. Coincidentally, days after meeting President Obama, I died in a plane crash. Plane crash. That's wild. We lost a lot along the way, and now we're here when the majority know what's going on. But here's some examples of how long we've been trying to get this out, folks. How high up we've went, and then what has happened. But now so many know that they can't do anything. It's just making it worse each time they murder somebody now. So this is Philip Marshall. Hi, I'm Philip Marshall, a former airline captain and author of a book that exposed the official 9/11 narrative as a lie. Weeks after my book was released, I was found dead with gunshot wounds to my head, along with two teenage kids and our family dog in our California home. Meet Gary Webb. In 1996, Gary Webb exposed how the CIA hired drug traffickers to sell massive amounts of cocaine in the United States in order to raise untraceable funds to finance a terrorist organization who were trying to overthrow the Nicaraguan government. These massive shipments of cocaine ultimately sparked the crack epidemic that decimated inner cities during the 90s. As a result, mainstream media vilified Gary Webb and destroyed his career, which also destroyed his marriage. But he refused to back down. In 2004, he was found dead with two bullet wounds in his head. His death was ruled a suicide. This man literally lost that. How do you two bullets in the head? Wow. How do you shoot yourself twice in the head? That's impressive. This man literally lost everything to give us a glimpse of the truth. Don't let his memory or what he stood for fade. He's a legend. I've heard about him. He's a legend. What's going on with these? Gotta share this real quick. People's the Federal Reserve banks are one of the most corrupt institutions the world has ever seen. Yet there's not a man within the sound of my voice who does not know that this nation is run by the international bankers. Every effort has been made by the Federal Reserve Board to conceal its powers, but the truth is the Fed has usurped the government. It controls everything here. Congress. It controls all the foreign relatives and breaks governments at will. That was one of the congressmen, Lewis Puddles or whatever his last name was. Can't read it, too small. Gotta make these bigger. They're messing with us, man. These are all facts. Let's go on to the next. Yep. So World War II was basically the Rothschilds and the Bolsheviks, Jews versus Germany. All the Jews. Yep. We gotta pay attention.
20 years doing this.
We gotta mute it. Or do we? Do we have to mute up? Better than headphones. Hold on, folks. Phones back in. Alright. Earbud in the ear. That's good. of my life. Here we go. Volume up. See what he says here on this one. Pay attention. They stand together, speaking at the city council somewhere, or some kind of deal in Florida. Details after. Let's see.
My name is Rick Fry. I've been in this about 20 years doing this. I've had two different in-laws who didn't listen to me, vaccinated their kids. They both have non-verbal children now. Any pediatrician in this room who tells you that a kid needs 80 shots shouldn't be trusted to put a Band-Aid on a kid's knee. If you think there's a measles outbreak 5 years after COVID, then it means you still don't understand how PCR tests work. So this whole thing is like based on lies. They can't show you double-blind randomized placebo studies because they don't have them. And now people are starting to realize it and seeing what's going on. It's obviously about freedom, but it's also about the children these pediatricians damage because they get paid to vaccinate these kids. And they're here being paid, and they're here to ensure that they'll still make their money to get their bonus to do this stuff. It's wrong on so many levels, and the smug way that they sit back there. Bye.
Hang on, I gotta unplug it. Can't do the headphone way when we're on the radio because we're playing it through the speakers into the mic to the radio, and I'm talking right here until we get everything connected. We had to start off quick in a hurry. Let's get it. So let's start over. Sorry. This is about vaccines for the radio listeners. Anyone that thinks 50 vaccines or any, in my opinion, any vaccine shouldn't be able to think that's normal and needs to be a part of your kid's life shouldn't even be able to put a Band-Aid on a kid. They're financially incentivized to kill us with all this crap and experiment on us. And if you don't get, the PCR test, measles, this, that, and the third, you don't get how PCR tests work. If you're believing there's a measles outbreak, well, yeah, that's because the bird flu didn't work and take off because nobody's buying it. Nobody's getting these bird flu shots and getting sick afterwards, and it's spreading to the ones that didn't get it. They're shedding, so then scare people. Notice how we're not getting shots and we're not getting sick. Or if you are getting sick, it's from the existing shots, but there is no bird flu symptoms. Now, you can make a test positive for anything. We just showed that on the PCR test in '93 or whenever by the guy that credited to be the creator of PCR test himself. And there's still millions of you that still, well, this is my job, but I got fired. Like, you're still trying to gaslight yourself. The creator of PCR tests said they don't work. They don't prove anything. And then other scientists have proven they've never isolated a virus ever before that claim to do it or whatever, or proven frauds.
I've been in this about 20 years doing this. I've had two different in-laws who didn't listen to me, vaccinated their kids. They both have non-verbal children now. Any pediatrician in this room who tells you that a kid needs 80 shots shouldn't be trusted to put a Band-Aid on a kid's knee. If you think there's a measles outbreak 5 years after COVID, then it means you still don't understand how PCR tests work. So this whole thing is like based on lies. They can't show you double-blind randomized placebo studies because they don't have them. And now people are starting to realize it and seeing what's going on. It's obviously about freedom, but it's also about the children these pediatricians damage because they get paid to vaccinate these kids. And they're here being paid, and they're here to ensure that they'll still make their money to get their bonus to do this stuff. It's wrong on so many levels, and the smug way that they sit back there and act like they're above all of us makes me want to throw up, to be honest with you. You listen to these people, and they see their children damaged immediately after baby well visits. And what a lot of people don't know is in 2020, our infant mortality rate dropped because they weren't going to have these baby well visits. So they weren't getting injected with these chemical cocktails over and over again. These kids die after these shots. There's nothing funny about this at all. My name is Rick Fry. I've been in this about 20 years.
Rick Rick Fry speaking up Florida that it's sad that we still have to have debates and back and forth. It's like, man, we got majority of people to understand it's flat. Like flat is a great example. But yet we still have to go back with these agents. It's always the agents, the ones getting paid. No, no, wrong, gaslighting you. And there's always this little thing, appeal to authority inside me. You're like, man, well, what if? What if it's all just a waste of time? And you gotta realize he's an idiot. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this guy's on one. He's cooking. But these doctors, these people, that's who it is. They got career. They're invested. They're believing in it. So got to wake more. Got to wake more people up. And the only way you can do that is by being, speaking the truth. That's just what it is. Oh, we can't. We're gonna pull that out. Huh? That's why the mic ain't working. Yep. See, that's why we ain't got nothing here. I don't know. That's wild to even think. I have to get in this where y'all can hear me. I feel like I'm loud enough over here. I'm not, but the computer might be. Either way, that's just nuts. Let's go to the next. It was the G. All right, so this is Chink, from the Young Turks, reposted on an anomalies page. National media is having a full mask off. National media is having a full mask off moment. That's how I kind of talk. Now they're pretending Epstein might have worked with the Russians. They always go, "Oh, it's the Russians," but it was Israel. When he repeatedly tries to meet with Putin and can't. Meanwhile, Israel is all over the files, and the media still won't even mention it. Looks like an act of cover up or just being ignorant. It's Israel. It's the Jews. It's not the Russians. It's not the Muslims. It's not the Chinese taking over the world. It's not Rocket Man in North Korea. Rocket Man. You ever heard of Rocket Man? Rocket Man. It's the Jews. It's all of them. It's the majority of Jews. We got evidence. We talk about it every day. Go watch the old shows. Like, nobody's buying it. Wow. See, we're getting the same narrative worldwide. Chink you does his homework and usually brings receipts. Yeah, I fuck with Chink. Chink is hard. He's coming in, bro. He's coming in. Maxwell father Robert was a Mossad agent for Israel. His sister Isabel. Her sister Isabel was a doctor or director of technologies for the World Economic Forum. Interesting stuff. Yep. Pack Rats 420, an Alabama House approves bill requiring reporting of parents if children smell marijuana. Requiring reporting of parents if children smell marijuana. Hang on a minute. So, House bill, according to reports, House Democrats debated a bill Thursday that would ban anyone, regardless of age, from smoking or vaping marijuana in a vehicle with a child or anyone under 19. Didn't know that it was okay for them to do that in Alabama, of all places, Bible thump. You know, as the bill defines it, violating the law would also be a Class A misdemeanor, carrying up to 1 year in jail, and require attendance at an Alabama Department of Public Health course on the dangers of marijuana around children. Sponsored by Representative Patrick Sellers, the bill was debated mostly among Democrats than rather than Republicans. Now, you're not gonna like this wild take, but bear with me. This is some bullshit. This is discrimination at the least, singling it out slowly. Well, we're just gonna trickle back to tough restrictions and make up excuses. This is World Star Hip Hop reposted by Packrat 420. Well, think about it. Cigarettes, they're never gonna go after cigarettes being smoked in the car. Cigarettes are the problem. Sorry, but they give kids marijuana and marijuana vapes. Severely ill kids. They let them smoke it. They let them eat it if they're about to die. Let's be honest here. Everywhere they're doing it, all over the world, it's opposite of what these stupid people, Jeff Session, ass motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Try to be like, you know what I'm saying? They want to be I'm doing something. Let's go after the least worrisome stuff. Nobody's out here going, well, I don't agree with it. Everybody's smoking in the car with their kids. That's not going on. So you can do that and then go, we did something. That just indirectly, we're not even without even reading the bill. It seems like just another scapegoat to go after people and take their kids for CPS. It doesn't seem like anything positive. It's like, oh yeah, your kid in the car, it smells like weed, even though the Supreme Court said it smelling like weed isn't enough. But it says right here, requiring reporting of parents if children smell of marijuana. So if they smell like they reek, like, that's bullshit. Sorry, but kids were getting high. People's parents, when I was a kid, I'd tell my mom, crack the window. She always just had a habit of cracking the window. She low key would feel bad. Other parents didn't give two flying fucks. We'd be riding with them with the windows up. She smokes with the windows up, man. She hot boxes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your mom's a cop and she hot boxes a cigarette. Like, that's awesome. That's awesome. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, like, I'm not for that. Purposely just smoking down with your little kids, your babies and toddlers. A few people got in trouble for doing that, and I think they should. If you got a little kid that's like 5 and under, 8 and under, 10 and under, but I say that specifically, not that they're worse. Obviously, there's always something worse, and it is worse the younger it is, but it's all bad. But that's because that's what we've seen. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people start doing things, experimenting around these days around 12, and it's getting younger and younger with social media and all these chemicals. Like for a while, they were like making us shorter and shorter and with the chemicals, and they switched it up back to growth hormones. So if you see like you're seeing the residuals of it or whatever, you're seeing like these last like current college kids, D2 schools especially, no breasts, no nothing. The cheerleaders and the guys are all short. Everybody's short. There ain't no tall people. 6 foot's what's tall now. It used to be 7 or 8 foot people. Every now and then, And so it's like everybody got shorter and shorter throughout high school as we moved up and moved up. It seems like the new freshmen every year were shorter and shorter. When I was a freshman, the seniors were tall and older and frankly looked like how we look at 30. So, I believe that they were ripping us, getting them big, and then boom, everybody was like, a lot of big people. And then it's like, man, you didn't really see a lot of fat people anymore. Just all of a sudden, even then, they all lost weight somehow. It's like, oh no, they all changed their lives, did things. Everything changed there for a second. And now it's all this short, flat chested, and now you're seeing the youth come into high school. And I've had friends that work foster cares and things like that, or just have kids that they've adopted, and they're all like, man, these kids nowadays, we were shrinking. They're growing again. They're developed. We didn't develop. So when I noticed women getting, you know, hitting puberty, right? And when I was, it was probably around sixth, seventh grade. And now they're saying it's like maybe fifth grade when fifth grade when it started, right? Maybe, I don't know. When I first noticed women and was drawing things like that, let's be honest here, third grade, and then you move schools, and it's like you kind of lose that for a minute. Because the backwoods school that I was at, you learn a lot more being around in the woods or in the hood. So people from the hood already know what's going on by 12. They're already smoking cigarettes all day at 12. Or if you live in the backwoods, that could be what it is too, because they're more fluent around everybody. Now, everywhere else, subdivisions, town, every other neighborhood in town, or anywhere else, they kind of dial it back. Out here, we don't care. Everybody cusses around you, get your ass inside type shit. In town, especially a lot of church people, they don't do that. But even the church people out here in the backwoods, they do that. The pastor will tell you to get your ass inside, quit being disrespectful. So you know what I mean? But not in town. So my point is, things different everywhere you go, but they're already doing drugs and doing things like that by what I would say 12 in the neighborhood, things like that. But then again, you got the preacher's daughter thing, all the lukewarm people that come in or that are members of the church. That's really just what that is. They get to do all this shit. They're a part of the congregation too, but I'm special because I'm supposed to be what they look up to. Screw this. I'll get into heaven. I ain't hurting nobody. Let me go have some fun. I still come to church every Sunday, and it's okay to have fun. It's this idea that we got to just walk this walk all day, and we do. That's not Jesus should be with us everywhere. But the fact, oh, you can't leave, you have to be in the temple all day is like y'all must be sinning more than ever. It's like the pedophiles never leave the house unless they're going to do some pedophile crap. They're lazy, they don't work, they don't have jobs, they don't have social lives. Some of them have jobs, a lot of them do. But come on, social lives? Not really. So that's where I'm at. I don't agree with anything being in the car, but if Oklahoma, for example, we have these examples I try to read, change the laws on that. They agreed, and it's been like that for years, that it's like cigarettes. Anywhere the cigarettes, currently that's the car. Marijuana could be smoked if you got a card, and in this case, we got all the hemp products that stink too, the hemp bud, THCA, and everything being sold. So it's like they just gave up altogether because it's basically the same thing, and they can't tell the difference. So that's where I'm with it. It's like somebody does, so what? If the kid's not fucked up, that's fine. It's like, fuck, bro. My parents smoked in the car when I was go to school every morning up until middle school. She got this one car and agreed not to smoke in it, and that didn't last long. There were still times where she would smoke in it when the weather was on her brakes. And all the other cars, the Mustangs, screw it. I paid for that. You get like You know what I mean? It's not weed, it's cigarettes. They claim they're not getting high, and they are. It's just you're normalized to it. Like me, I smoke weed all day. So I'm saying, oh yeah, I don't feel nothing. I can help you. It's the same thing. Yeah, I'm getting the same effect. Not really, because you know what I'm saying? Tolerance and all that. But let's be for real about it. This is some fucking bullshit. So, my unprofessional opinion, if it's still okay to smoke in the car with your kids, windows up, t- cigarettes, tobacco, everything else, babies in the car, all the vapes, everybody's hitting the vapes with the windows up. I don't want to rip on my family and friends that fucking do that stupid ass fucking shit. When it films on the windows and this, that, and the other. Yeah, this is scraping these vapes out. They go and scrape this yellow wax like, looks like a dab or something of weed, but it's the nicotine vapes. So, I mean, that's okay. Windows up, the kids in the car, everybody's hitting them every 5 seconds. They start twitching if they don't have it with them. Ah, little micro anxiety they create in their head just so they can calm it down with a cigarette. If that's not enough, they'll create it in real life just as an excuse to go smoke. Potheads, most of them just have a bunch of bullshit going on. They probably have every valid reason to smoke all the time, bro. You know what I'm saying? Most of them. Now, you get these dumbasses that are just creeps, rappers, creeps, pedophiles, whatever, that just smoke all day to cope with the demons they got inside. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, who the fuck needs to smoke pounds of weed by themselves a day? You have to sit there stuck somewhere all day long. Roll. There ain't no way. Hire somebody to roll while you go do important stuff or pre rolls or whatever. You're wasting money. See how much money, all that money you could be investing. So it's like, yeah, I get it. But the whole issue here is that it's being regulated like tomatoes. And I'm looking for every red herring to put regulation on it. I didn't know Alabama had a medical program. Or if they did, I forgot about it. I didn't know they were willing to relax it to where it could be smoked in the car with your kids. Like, who does that? Of course, if my kids, I don't know, I don't know, because Wiz Khalifa be smoking in the house and the kid comes around. It's smoky in here, man. You gotta go, but I love you, and I'll hug him real fast. And, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Kids not fucked up. Kids not acting stupid. This weed ain't the same weed. So I don't know. You hear me? I'd much rather weed billowing in the house or an occasional microdose by accident, him to catch a contact, than just to be turning green all the time on the way to school. What's wrong with you? Oh, to be drunk like, tobacco like, hungover like off a cigarette or whatever, because then you crash. Tobacco being not only addictive wise, but because something about it keeping you going at work is why you do it. It passes the time. It keeps you high. It keeps you up. It's something about it that they say it's compared to meth, but also like not just addictive wise, but also because why it's addictive wise in my experience or my knowledge. I've never done it. I did it a little bit and didn't do anything, but I get how people do it. It's they want to escape life with it. It's like the laziest people smoke the most cigarettes and do the most constant, have to constantly be doing something to alter themselves because they can't handle working. Really, they can't. Without that, they wouldn't be able to do that job. They're just, and they just quit and go home. They get mad, snap, and go home, something. And that's because cigarettes, they're not living life. They're tuned out, escaping it. And I think maybe similar thing with this new weed they have now. This dispensary weed that's arrived, and now we used to be getting psychedelic like weed from everywhere, homegrown, Mexico, whatever. And now it's all going to the homegrown people that used to grow it from these government allowed dispensaries. And the dispensary weed is being sold into Mexico instead of here from Mexico. So something's different. It's not the same effect that I had just prior to it being legalized. Maybe I'm tripping, but that homegrown, nope, I'm not, because these kids be smoking, mainly dads, but they hit the blunt too, and they got that homegrown weed one time and they hit them different. Wow, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's a little too long to harp on that, but that's my harp on that is that it's just a waste of taxpayer money and resources. Currently, I don't think they are protected. It may be less dealt with, but it's just they want to generate revenue now on every red herring that they can find people for. That's not the worst deal. You got people hitting the pipe, the Fenty pipe. You got people driving around, kids in the car, smoking pills on tinfoil, bro. You got meth being smoked all day long. They got a if you perfect a retail version, or you got every drug now they're putting into a vape. Allegedly shrooms, allegedly TMD, if you know what I'm really talking about. And now, if they actually look meth like the Saturday Night Live bit, I'm sure for years, for 10 years, I've heard 10, 15 years, people just throwing a rock inside a vape. It works, but they're like watered down and so to perfectly make a long lasting e juice off a little budget to get them tweaked like that. Maybe something they can prescribe and have also simultaneous black market or the same brand. Because I've never seen nobody getting high tech or act from the doctor. No family. It's always on the street. It's labeled and everything like that. I don't know about you. I don't know a lot of people getting prescriptions just for codeine one time, trying it, and then fucking, it's always just like, regular brand when I did see that, but it's not. That's what I'm getting at. All these other drugs that they're not attacking and making regulations out of nowhere. You see in every state, just all of a sudden, we got to do this. Oklahoma's going to end the industry entirely after strictening up everything. We got to vote to end the industry entirely. These no base claims that it's all ran by cartel. What else? There was a few other states, including some national. Allegedly, Trump dropped it to 3, but on the controlled substance. I don't know. Let's see what else. More Epstein reveals. This guy posted a lot of them. Kyle Parks. McDonald's fast food chain about human meat. Enjoy your slop. So this confirms the human meat. And Putin has been holding and waiting to
Putin
release
just said at the
that too. He's been talking about it. He's got evidence of it. Now the Epstein files are saying it, and you guys still are at McDonald's drive-throughs eating yourselves. Soylent Green. You gotta tell him, Frank, or whatever his name was. You gotta tell him. Oh, I'll tell him at the embassy. He's not gonna say nothing. You gotta tell the world Soylent Green is people. And yes, we talk about that here on the radio a lot. Just play clips showing that evidence. Just, you can hear the audio of it on the radio station. Between this, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy work. Since I think UCO was playing this morning, weren't they? No, it was Southeastern. I don't know what the score is. It was baseball. Baseball's kicked off. It's the UCO first pitch classic. And the D2 sports is where it's at. They're one of the biggest Division 2 baseball and football. You know what I'm saying? Well, y'all pile down in until there's no room at OU. We're filling up the smaller venue now. It's starting to pick up. UCO's where it's at. I think if they move up to D1, I ain't even tripping. I like D2 though. That's sports. We'll get into some sports here in a minute. To divert, that's something entertaining. I like to, talk about like free energy, the positive things, this result, but someone else's win here, there. I don't like to always do the bad. So we do that too, but sports is a good thing. Your smaller colleges. You don't have to go to the OUs and the TUs and the big industry control ops. Just go to your small college or high school. Support the kids there as they're doing their best. Even though that shit's retarded. Let's see what the video says though. We're rambling. We gotta get this stuff off. I'm trying to remember. There's other stuff we gotta talk about. Oh yeah, check the Buy American page. Alright, let's see what Putin has to say about I don't know what it is.
You have to hear what Putin just said at this big gallery interview presentation thing. I can't believe some of the things. Like, are we about to go to war with Russia? Because I think we might have a decent amount in freaking common with them. And I don't know if our media is really giving us the full story about this whole thing. So check this out.
Ведут против нас все более агрессивные информационные атаки. Целью выбирают, прежде всего, конечно, против нас все более агрессивные информационные атаки. Целью выбирают
Full story about this whole thing. So check this out.
Ведут против нас все более агрессивные информационные атаки. Целью выбирают, прежде всего, конечно, молодых людей, молодые поколения. И здесь опять лгут постоянно. Извращают исторические факты, не прекращают нападки на нашу культуру, на русскую православную церковь, другие традиционные религиозные организации нашей страны. Посмотрите, что они делают со своими собственными народами. Разрушение семьи, культурной и национальной идентичности, извращение, издевательство. Что здесь хочется сказать? Взрослые люди имеют право жить, как хотят. Мы к этому так и относились в России, всегда к этому будем так относиться. Никто в частную жизнь не вторгается, и мы не собираемся этого делать. Но хочется им сказать, посмотрите, извините меня, священное писание, главные книги всех других мировых религий. Там все сказано. В том числе то, что семья – это союз мужчины и женщины. Но и эти...
You know, it really is interesting. I mean, who do we trust here? When you have such polar opposites.
И женщины. Но и эти...
You know, it really is interesting. I mean, who do we trust here? When you have such polar opposites saying, like, this is the guy who bans GMOs for Russia, whereas our countries ban GMO labeling. In other words, they lobbied to make sure you didn't know you're eating GMOs, like the labels, right? Like, that's a big deal. Imagine if Volvo or GM paid millions and millions of dollars to make sure that their logo wasn't on their car so you didn't know you were driving it. And the excuse from Monsanto was the public doesn't understand the science, and therefore, if they read the word GMO on their food, they wouldn't buy it because they don't understand the science of how GMOs are so safe, and they'd be foolishly not wanting to eat it. So in other words, they kind of think you're a bit of a silly Billy. Too silly to make your own decisions, so they would keep and withhold that information from you. I mean, that is just so weird. So who's right? Should we be eating more GMOs over here? Or, you gotta wonder, when Europe has all this crazy stuff banned, but over here it's allowed. And we also look at different ailment rates, and we know that over here, statistically speaking, I think we are fatter. I think we are, they don't even have fluoride in Europe, man. So what's the big idea? And are we crazy for thinking about this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more. You have to hear
It's not China or Russia. It's American and Israel. They've been the problem the entire time. It's crazy. The UK, maybe. Some of the Australian government at one time, maybe. All of it. All of the governments of the world and the UN are united underneath the Jew. And they sold out. It says MAGA is building warehouse camps. Evil will manifest in those concentration camps. That's Steve Schmidt from The Warning with Steve Schmidt. In Oklahoma City, somewhere around there, they're wanting to put a big ice detention facility, and I think, didn't you get them all? At least leave the hot ones. Like, you know what I'm saying? At least leave the Latinas, the big booty Latinas, and the short midget big booty Latinas. They're short and midget, but they got a fat butt compared to their body size. Like, it's probably like a regular sized butt or a fat butt on a regular person, but on a midget 25-year-old Latina, like I'm trying to, right there, 25, 30. No English. She don't speak the language, but she speaks the international language of love or lust. Let's be for real here. But like, you gotta make some kind of funny out of everything to lighten the mood, because this is driving me mentally insane. They continue just to do whatever and no recourse, remorse. But it's like, mm, it's just wild to think. Well, if it's 3:39, I think we're gonna see if we can. We'll do sports at the end. We'll save that. Let's do it at the end.
I decided to leave my 9 to 5 and bet on myself. Now I have over 20 million followers and each of my videos gets millions of views. Creating your own website is an important.
So Epstein was able to avoid federal prison and uh, Epstein was able to avoid federal prison and secure extremely lenient work release conditions following his 2006 arrest in West Palm Beach, Florida, through a controversial secret non-prosecution agreement negotiated with U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta. Here's how he got out of jail and secured a special treatment. I'll tell you before we read this, even though I've never seen this. Shannon posting it. Talmudic law that runs the courts. If you can prove you're Jew enough and you're doing a protected religious Jewish activity, which is raping minors and trafficking them, the goy slaves, anyone else does it, you could face potentially a slap on the wrist to 5 years, maybe 20 years, and you might make a few months, if that, and you get violated, raped, and murdered by the inmates, but not if you're Jew. If you're Jew, you get special protection in the cell, and you get the old switcheroo here. Let's be honest with you. Here's how he got out of jail and secured special treatment according to this. Initial arrest and low bail following a 2005 investigation. Epstein was indicted by a state grand jury in July 2006 on one felony charge of soliciting prostitution. He spent only one night in the Palm Beach County Jail and was released the next day on a $3,000 bond. $3,000 bond, and I'm up $20,000 bond for no license. And he's prostituting minors. The sweetheart deal. In 2008, to avoid federal trafficking charges that could lead to a life sentence, Epstein's legal team negotiated a plea deal where he pleaded guilty to state-level prostitution charges. Unprecedented work. As a part of this plea, he was sentenced to 18 months in the Palm Beach County stockade, but was allowed to work release program, permitting to leave jail cell 6 days a week for 12 hours a day to work at his nearby West Palm Beach office. So who else gets to go to work and then back to jail afterwards? Special. And that ain't even the half of it, folks. There's another one. Oh, it just continues to go on. Iran refuses to end nuclear enrichment talks with the U.S. Neither side moved from their initial position, but Iran said it was open to further talks. Easy first step for Britain. Last month, I got hooked on the AI Christmas trend, trying to stay away from that as much as possible. Stay informed. In case you're regularly think it's using AI is okay, the World Health Organization has officially announced running our first area of water bankruptcy, running out of fresh water, drinkable water, at alarming rates, and you will see our first water shortages in the next few years. You will not be able to drink. Dude, we're inside water. Water's above, the water's below, there's water everywhere. We're just blocking it off. But either way, yeah, they are using a lot of water. You'll not be able to drink any water in your home or shower, do laundry, etc. You should not only be not using it, not consuming it, but educating vulnerable family and friends on the dangers and impacts. This is soon. Trump has defunded the National Weather Service and our national parks, so you're not hearing about the constant demolition of our previously protected land and water sources. Please be educating yourself. Epstein files now exposing the Call of Duty's darkest secrets. The CEO of Call of Duty mentioned over 300 times in the Epstein private file. Bobby Kotick, however you say it, wasn't just a name on a guest list. He had dinners at Epstein's residence, discussed visiting the island, and was present when an associate said, "I'm all for indoctrinating kids into an economy." Weeks later, Call of Duty launched microtransactions for the first time. Oh, childhood ruined. Womp. Send that to the homies. Uh-oh, Michael Jackson was protecting the kids at Neverland Ranch. Have you heard this take in this side? Well, this is what was happening, and it's now, decades later, been validated now that he was in fact not the pedophile. There was others.
Was protecting the kids all along. Now, for the past few days, so Michael Jackson was protecting the kids all along. Now, for the past few days, I've been reading the files, the documents. You know what I'm talking about. And let me just say, some of the things I read, I wish I wouldn't have read it, especially because the mental images about certain people and what are in those files, but I digress on that. But Michael was taking the kids allegedly to Neverland to protect them against the ones that were accusing him of what they were doing. Let that sink in. Not one moment during any of that Michael nonsense did I feel that he did anything wrong. That was based on intuition, that was based on something here. But he was trying to protect them. And it makes sense.
I feel like he was just developing slowly or quickly into an old white woman. Could be wrong. But he kept the baby voice, even though he revealed that that's not his voice. He just talked like that to save from singing, so his voice wouldn't be wore out, some said. But look at it. He just made his skin match like that instead of being massively the most viral guy ever for rocking vitiligo when no one else wouldn't. If that's what was going on, he was using the creams, whatever. But I just the whole time it just seemed too soft and innocent, like an old white lady, like, oh, we gotta stop these kids. Oh yes, it's a serious problem. And some people thought it was kind of too fake. He liked being fake. He liked putting on this character, but also he put on other characters where he wore all that fake makeup and looked like a white old man. I think he wanted to be a white woman before it was popular, like a not too white woman. So he never rocked dreads or nothing. He always had the curly tied back or the long, kind of like white women were doing in 2006. They were all doing that too. The spaghetti, the noodle hair, the whatever, Wild take, but let's see what it is. It's not wild. This is what happened.
Corey Feldman, Aaron Carter, Macaulay Culkin, multiple other kids were all saying he was innocent, but everyone just said, oh, they've been paid off, and nope, they're lying. They were all protecting him because he was protecting the kids.
As much money as Michael Jackson had, he could have paid him probably all 10, 20 to maybe 100 million, right? Luckily, he was pulling it in like that. But where's the record of that? It would be like somewhat of a. Sometimes you would find a record, something like that happening every now and then. You know what I'm saying? Bank record, transact. You know what I'm saying? That would match up at a certain timeline. Them all saying that, them all being canceled and broke forever. Now Colin McCulkin gets to act now. Now he gets to, like, screw it, whatever, screw you guys. No one cares. So I'm just gonna own this. It's like sobering up, cleaning up, and acting now. Like, oh, where have you been all this 10 years? Fuck, man, he couldn't handle it. Everyone else just grew up real fast after getting raped by people like Diddy into the game. They wanted it. They trained a lot of these people, seeing what was happening to them instead of going, damn, we need to speak out about it. They're lying like Meek Mill. It's like, all right, I'll do whatever for the fucking fame, even though they won't remember my name. I've been practicing with a dude down the road. I'm not really gay. He fucking me hard on a regular bay. I guarantee you that's what happened. A lot of these motherfuckers now, after knowing this shit, after knowing it got kind of popular as a theory in the 90s, and it's been going on forever, the Undercover Brothers, all that shit, and it's like, no, I'm not buying it. You know what I'm saying? Get the fuck out of here. But no, this dude Michael was definitely trying to be a white woman for sure. There's theories that even an old white woman who was playing him before he died, that he died earlier, that he actually died during that Pepsi event or whatever, when the stage equipment burned his hair or whatnot. I don't know. Usually they don't get cloned into being a truthful person wanting to take down the industry unless it's just fake and not real. Usually in getting killed, usually they get cloned into being a robot back to how they were before.
from the people that were accusing him of doing just what they were doing. This is absolutely insane. Like, have you read the files, the documents? We'll call them documents. Have you heard this about Michael? Like, I literally saw an interview with his sister Latoya where she said that he told her, I'm afraid they're going to unalive me. And she didn't believe him. These documents are deep, 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 deep. Let me know what you think. Did you read them? Have you heard the story? And like and follow for more because, whoa. So Michael Jackson was protecting the kids all along. Now, for the past few days, I've been reading the file.
So the news found in Epstein's cell was not the news that killed him. Have we not heard this before? I'd like to know who put that news there. Glenn Beck, trolling. It's the Jews, Glenn. Of course, Midtown Tulsa locked down several schools due to a bomb threat. The same day, right, that they allegedly, the same day, right, that they did the protest walkouts for ICE. This guy's cool. Talked to him one time on Instagram Live in the comments. Like a brief little back and forth, like, that was badass.
Support ICE. Our country was made. President Trump, we support you. We support ICE. Our country was made for Americans, not for Somalis.
Like, he literally got ran out of Minnesota a few weeks ago, and he's wearing jeans. He almost fell over. He got arrested for this, by the way. He had to pay like $6,000. Like, he's such a dork. So he cosplays as a military guy, never been in the military. And also, he's Jew. He's not a Christian. I don't know why he's trying to play this up, but this dude is so pathetic and, like, it's laughable. Like, man, this guy can kick rocks. Well, he can kick ice.
President Trump, we support you. We support ICE. Our
Here's the April 4th, 1985 admission for all district directors from the IRS that you don't have to pay income tax. Only 2 states ratified the amendment, whereas 36 states to be valid. The effect of this is such that every tax paid to the Treasury since 1913 is due and refundable to citizens and businesses. By the way, that's why they was going to give us checks. Then another emergency happens. Nope, they need the money. Special position services has always been to aid and assist the citizens of the United States. We will not publish or advertise this finding as a total immediate refund would cause serious strain on the resources of the Treasury. So, for those citizens who become aware of this finding and apply for a total refund, expedite their refund documents as quietly as possible. A simple 1040X form will suffice until a new form is designed and printed. Advise each of your managers that they are not to discuss this situation with anyone. There will be no written communication, and you are to destroy this memorandum. That's weird. Why wouldn't you want everybody to know that? Why would you publish that if you couldn't? I feel like you're required to tell everybody that at that point. So you can get your income taxes back. I'm sure by now that you get, the I-9 got exempt, or is it something else? The 1099, or what is it? It might be that one. I don't know. There's an exempt form exchange on a lot of these things too. Nope. I don't want to do that. I want it right here.
So, rightfully so, very many of us. So, rightfully so, very many of us are very disturbed by this latest release of information that came out with the Epstein files, particularly as it relates to not just the sexual abuse of children, but the cannibalism of children. I'm about to say something and it might piss a whole lot of people off, but I mean, it is what it is. The reaction that many people are having to the fact that babies were being eaten is the same reaction many of us who are not Christians have to Christians partaking in communion. Hear me out. Communion is a ritualistic process of cannibalism. You are reenacting eating the body of Jesus and drinking the blood of Jesus. Do you not see how and why those of us who, especially those of us who have deconstructed from Christianity, the reasons why we say that you have been duped, you have been fooled, they have pulled the covers over your eyes. Your religion is not what you thought it was. You are partaking in cannibalism. These are nefarious rituals, and you're partaking in it every Sunday. And you may say that's a stretch because you're not actually eating the body, but it is a spiritual representation. And I want you to just imagine that you are literally eating someone's human flesh and drinking someone's human blood. Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, y'all are helping to strengthen the demon who they are strengthening when they are physically eating the body. When you do it in the spirit and they do it in the flesh, y'all are participating in the same ritualistic, religious, nefarious practices. Do with that what you wish. So, rightfully so, very many of us.
Nobody wants to have that conversation though. KOKH 25 out of Oklahoma City, Fox 25, several students in several districts across Oklahoma are participating in ICE walkouts. And there's some pictures. Let's see what the comments say. It's going to be divided all the way one or the other every time. Kids are all right. Okay, I like that. They just wanted out of school and thought they were getting free ices. Womp. Is there a documented case of ICE taking someone out of school? Yes. Are they going to report to the learning center? I drove past this today and waved. They were all super proud to stand up for the America they believe in, and that's badass to see because most people their age when I was that young could have cared less about how things were going. But every day they stay out of the classroom at that time of the end of the school year. Being useless, they can't use in time to go to work. The real world removed that from their required attendance days. LOL. It froze in the middle of me typing. Come on. That was awesome. Okay. Well, I gotta get out of here. Alright, there we go. Can they do this after and before school? No. Why? We waste our life in school. Why the fuck do I have to do it after school at the time at home? I might need to actually go stand up somewhere else.
US I heard the US just staged a coup in China and got discovered, and now 1,000 people are being tortured. Well, they're saying the coup is not confirmed, but why would it be? I mean, the president's closest confidant was just taken out of power because he was leaking secrets to the United States on nuclear weapons. Yeah, this guy's been a military leader for 60 years. He is the highest ranking in the military. Yeah, this just happened, and no one's seen him since. And, you know, he wasn't acting alone. I mean, he was giving the secrets to the US, so obviously, U.S. citizens were involved in China, so 1 + 1 = 2. So in a way, it kind of was a coup. I mean, of course, they're not reporting on everything. But I mean, all of the headlines are saying that this is a possible coup, and we just don't know much about it. Yeah, I don't know what it is about China, but they've been a superpower since before most countries even existed. So trying to stage a coup there is not that smart. But they're leading the charge to nuclear Armageddon. We have to know what they're doing. Yeah, and that's kind of our fault. Here's a fun fact. When Obama forced top military officials out of the military because they needed to cut costs, they put people who were not qualified in those positions, including nuclear trade, and they accidentally sent nuclear weapons to China, and you never heard about this on the news, but I did because I was a military kid, and my dad was a top-ranking official, and I heard things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's kind of our fault. I heard the US just staged a coup in China and got discovered, and now 1,000 people are being tortured. Well, they're saying the coup is not confirmed, but why would it be? I mean...
China. Yeah, of course, the Jews have tried to take over China. They're not really with Zionism either. Exposed Zionism many times. That's crazy. It's 4. Sometimes we go to 4:30 or 5, but we got it done today. I think we're gonna call it early since I got here late. Got some doom scrolling in. It's live on the radio. We'll scroll again later tonight. Try to look for no local stuff on here. rfoshow. Got a lot going on today. Sorry, guys. Trying to get this thing kicked off right, and not working, but we'll get there. Revolt Radio 90.1.